Ahead tonight, the National Emergency Management Agency monitoring severe weather nationwide.
Also, tourism's biggest marketing event officially opened here in the Bahamas last night.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, there is continued optimism about the opening of the Bahama Resort. Find out what the Director General of Tourism has to say. We'll bring you all the details in the Bahamas tonight.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
We begin tonight with news on the weather as a special warning statement issued by the Department of Meteorology late this afternoon indicated that a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Bimini, the Berry Islands, Abaco, and Grand Bahama and their adjacent waters until 8:20 this evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Karissma Robinson.
And good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altovise Munnings. The severe weather system forced some schools in the affected vicinity to close and open today and forced residents to closely watch how this system will affect them. Chief Meteorologist Basil joins us live in studio to tell us exactly what we can expect this weekend. Good evening, Basil, and can you tell us whether or not the cold weather will be a part of the system as well?
Altovise, the cold weather is on the way. We're going to get the rains out of here tonight for you. Presently, we have quite a bit of rains occurring over the northern Bahamas, excluding Andros, New Providence, and Eleuthera. The remaining islands in the northwest Bahamas, Bimini, Grand Bahama, the Berry Islands, and Abaco, all remain under that warning and will remain so until about 8:20 this evening. But late tonight, early morning, we expect the rains to push off towards the north and east and over the Atlantic, and those warnings will be dropped for those islands as well. As far as the rest of the weekend is concerned, the cold front will move through late Saturday night. It's going to be a dry front, but behind that, the winds are going to pick up quite extensively. We expect some breezy and cool conditions leading into the early part of next week.
The National Emergency Management Agency has been partially activated with a green flag hoisted at its Gladstone Road office due to the severe weather warning issued for the Northwest Bahamas. In the capital, aside from overcast skies and minor showers in some places, weather was relatively calm, but NEMA Director Captain Stephen Russell says the agency, along with officials from the Department of Meteorology, have been monitoring the weather system as it made its way through the Bahamas. He says the agency has contacted island administrators to ensure they were updated on what is happening.
As well, in terms of the possible water rain levels, we're concerned with those areas that are low-lying and potential flood zones. We've asked them all to monitor those as the system approaches, and to have the nearest shelters in those low-lying areas on standby, and shelter management teams on standby just in the event that persons need to move from their locations and find shelters. So that is what we're doing at this time. And we'll continue to monitor the system, as I said, during the course of the night tomorrow, and continue to stay in contact with our administrators as best we can.
Government schools in the capital and impacted islands were closed today, while some private schools were closed as well and others remained open. Assistant Port Controller Craig Curtis told us that because it is Friday, most mailboats were docked at Porter's Key. However, he says there is a procedure for when severe weather travels.
What we normally do is we would adhere to the policy that governs the dock as it relates to when we have hurricanes traveling, whereby Porter's Key Dock being a landlocked facility, we are considered safe harbor, where we would have to grant access to the facility to any vessel seeking safe harbor at the time.
We now go to our Julian Gibson, who has this report on today's weather in Andros.
What started out as a gloomy, dull-looking day has remarkably changed for the better. The rain subsided shortly after 8 o'clock this morning, and since then it's been overcast with the wind blowing between 10 to 15 knots. Now around 1 p.m. this afternoon, a slight drizzle of rain passed through. Nothing much to talk about. Many of the fishermen took the necessary precautions by securing their boats. I saw trailers carrying their boats to safer haven. Schools in the southern district of South Andros were also closed today. Now it was business as usual for residents. They had a chance to enjoy mid-morning and afternoon sunshine. In fact, Western Air, the airline that makes daily services to South Andrews, they had a morning flight and they also had an afternoon flight. And there were a few private international flights also taking off from Congo Town Airport. But so far, the rain has subsided. The wind blowing, say about 10 to 15 knots, and right now it's overcast in Pleasant Bay, South Andrews. Reporting for the ZNS Network News, I'm Julian Gibson.
On out to news from our number one industry. It's dubbed as the Caribbean's largest and most important marketing event, and it's being held at the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort.
Caribbean Travel Marketplace 2016 affords tourism suppliers the opportunity to meet face-to-face with wholesalers from around the world selling Caribbean vacation travel. We have more in last night's opening ceremony.
Several $1,000s donated to the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association during the opening ceremony of Marketplace 2016 Thursday night. CHTA officials maintain educating young people interested in the tourism industry is vital to its growth, among many other things.
Your collaboration locally and regionally through CHTA and the Caribbean Tourism Organization is essential to helping our industry and destinations fully realize the incredible potential which tourism offers.
It is the work of our ministers, it's the work of all involved in the tourism industry. It is your contribution that we so appreciate, all that you do, all that you cause to happen for our nations, to cause our nations to grow, and for our people to be better.
Officially opening the event was Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie, who revealed that tourism as a direct contribution to Caribbean gross domestic product was 3% last year, compared to the worldwide average of 3.7%, and total contribution to Caribbean GDP rose by 2.9% in 2015. However, Mr. Christie lamented it is no longer business as usual for regional tourism stakeholders, particularly when it comes to the increasingly high cost of taxes and fees on air travel to and within the region.
Air-related taxes and fees for travel to the Caribbean can represent over half of the cost of an airline ticket for a number of destinations. By comparison, air-related taxes and fees represent less than 20% for travel within the United States of America. Arguments have been presented by the private sector, which contends that by reducing the cost of air travel, primarily through tax and fee reductions, we will stimulate more travel to the Caribbean and government revenues will be protected and even enhanced through an increase in visitor arrivals.
Well, Tourism's Director General Joy Jibrilu shed more light on those interested about the future of the multi-billion-dollar Bahama resort in Western New Providence.
But the Director General shares the optimism of the nation's leader that the hotel will open soon, filling a niche for expanded tourism offerings here in New Providence. Genea Noel-Ferguson reports.
Despite the disappointments experienced with Bahamas' delay, whose future now lies in the hands of the lender China Exim Bank, Director General of Tourism Joy Jibrilu says there's been keen interest from the international community as investors, travel companies, and visitors await the opening of what is expected to be the biggest destination in the region.
First of all, it's created a buzz that's out of this world. I've had the privilege to travel around the world now to represent the Bahamas, and wherever I go, people have talked about Bahama. So it has helped to raise the profile of the Bahamas.
Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie has indicated that he is in constant contact with the China Exim Bank and other parties interested in Bahama. Jibrilu told members of the International Media Corps during a briefing at the Caribbean Hotel Association Marketplace Friday that it's not surprising that so many parties want to claim Bahama as their own.
Everything's in place. It's 97% completed. All the approvals are in place. It's just ready to go. And so this is something that is very, very attractive.
Concerns were also expressed by the nation's leader that the Bahama property that is situated on the Cable Beach Strip is deteriorating and time is running out to have the development opened. Upon further inspection, however, Jibrilu says the condition of the property is not as bad as it may seem.
People who've gone in said no, because the air conditions are going constantly, that it has minimized what people, I think, were just assuming, and that it actually still remains to the point where someone can go in, do the final touches, and want to open it.
Now, although efforts remain steady, Jibrilu said there is still no assurance when the $3.5 billion resort will open.
The conference center will be open by March of this year, and it will be functioning because there's a major IDB conference taking place. And I think what people are hoping for is that will just lead the way to the formal opening of the property.
Now, while no official timeline has been set for the official opening of the Bahamas resort, Jibrilu says that once the property does open, it will definitely add value to the Bahamian tourism product. Genea, Noel-Ferguson, ZNES Network News.